look, I'm not a fan of child pornography, but
Not a child pornography fan,
no,
but this is class.
He's 100%. Okay. I'm now recording locally.
Perfect. Just throw that into the blackmail file. So,
well, they said they were not a fan of child pornography. If anything,
exactly.
If anything, it's exonerative.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a phrase I'd love to have attached to my name.
Perhaps on a shirt, you know.
My not a fan of child pornography shirt is prompting a lot of questions answered by my shirt.
Well, we've solved the new t-shirt design question
Just
quite intensely, I think.
It's such a good...
It's like every Bond sort of like frowning outwards and not a fan of child pornography.
No, I'm not.
You to sync your recording.
Oh yeah. Sure.
3, 2, 1, mark. Delightful. I think we can leave all of that.
Yeah, anyway,
in,
speaking of doing horrible things involving children, here's Agent Cody Banks 2.
Are you telling me that the CIA was behind Beanie Babies?
I'm real sorry about this one.
Abigail.
Welcome to another episode of Kill James Bond, the podcast. I'm Alice Corbo Kelly, joined by my friends as always, Abigail Thorne, Devon.
Friends is a strong word, I think.
Yeah.
After this, yeah,
we did it.
Joined by my enemies.
We finally did it. We found a worse film than Stormbreaker, and it was me again.
In the weirdly prolific British child spy genre. Yeah, it's Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London, because we always have to start with a sequel. This is what Frankie Muniz did after
Agent Cody Banks 1.
Well, you add that too,
remarkably quickly after it came out, the year after Cody Banks 1.
Yeah, this film is kind of I've been doing some like browsing on Wikipedia into the, sort of the backstage of this film, and like it's insane who was involved in making it and how connected they are. This film was made by the Deep State.
I also have this theory, which I think is contained within the text of the film. But so I haven't seen Agent Cody Banks 1, Destination Wherever He Goes in Agent Cody Banks 1. So we see him instead, like gillied up in the woods, hunting other guys for sport. Like I think we saw Jason Bourne do this in like the sort of CIA training facility where you just like stalk people through the woods.
Cody Banks is 16. Canonically.
Yes.
He's a teenager.
Yes.
He's like at summer camp, which is a CIA training facility. And you can tell it's a CIA training facility because all of the camp counselors wear jumpsuits with CIA on the back.
Not a bad look.
And they're doing
not a bad look.
No, it's surprisingly strong. But they're doing like
they're really warm as well.
Regular shit.
Yeah.
they're like driving the hovercraft from Die Another Day. They're shooting big harpoons at a target. All of these things. And this already gets me to my first problem, right? As soon as I see the big CIA jumpsuit, I go, that goes hard, I want one. But it also makes me go, you didn't normally, right? As now, against my will, something of a connoisseur of the child spy movie genre, normally what you do is you make up a like child-friendly spy agency, like Whoop, right?
The child
like,
intelligence agency.
OSS Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's sort of like a Venture Brothers thing, like the Guild. You have to have rules, right? You have to have a child-friendly spy agency, and you have to pair them with like age-appropriate sort of enemies, right? This movie doesn't do that, so it's just the CIA.
Yeah, just like Stormbreaker was just like MI5.
Yeah. Cody Banks is fully in the National Clandestine Service. He was in Tora fucking Bora in 2003, waterboarding people.
Yeah, Jack Ryan is saying to Cody Banks, people are not a big fan of you at the moment. Waterboarding, rendition. Cody Banks is like, no, my unit.
Wasn't my unit.
In Shadow Recruit, when he's like, it's not my unit, the unit that was Cody Banks. He was doing all of that
Where was
shit.
Cody Banks on 9/11?
He was the one like escorting Saudi royals out of the country.
He was probably on recess.
He was quite young, I believe, during 9/11. Nice imagine.
So the vibe with this camp is like the typical sort of like pseudo Native American thing that like American summer camps so often do. It's called Camp Woody, by the way. But like for instance, all of their shit conceals spy shit. The log cabins contain like bomb disposal training, and most notably, a big totem pole contains a bunch of radar dishes and antennae. And to me, this is obviously an interesting commentary on the national security state's co-option of Native American identities, whether that's from SEAL Team Tomahawks to the Apache helicopter. And, you know, I think it's a very, very stark anti-imperialist message to put in Agent Cody Banks 2 Destination London.
Yeah. And I agree completely.
But so... yeah.
So, listen, as brain god, as a genius, I don't think of myself as like, I'm not patting myself on the back too hard for figuring out the plot of a children's movie. I clocked the
movie
guy
that Amazon literally goes, "Do you want to? Are you sure about this?"
At this point, Amazon's given up asking if I want to start a kids account. They're just like, okay, this guy's just weird. This guy's just a freak. And that's fair. To keep watching these fucking child spy movies.
Wait, you guys paid for this?
Listen,
why?
I'm expensing that. Like, I am getting that £1.99 back out of Kill James Bond.
My accountant doesn't need to know about this.
my accountant is also the Trash Future accountant. He has seen worse. So yeah, you're right, Dev. We do see our obvious bad guy, Captain Victor Diaz, who has been like affectionately and ironically nicknamed Captain Squishy. I fucking love this guy. He's the one guy in the movie who like doesn't have to pretend to be having fun. He's like
this actor's performance is unique.
That's true. I think he's really good.
I think comparative to everyone else, he's probably fine.
It's outsider art. He's like, this is right. The dynamic I'm trying to explain here is that Victor Diaz, played by Lily Allen's dad.
Yeah, that's Keith fucking Allen. Insane, yeah. Right? Okay. So again, deep state number one. I was going to have 3 facts about this actor. Number 1, he is the director's brother. Number 2, he's done a lot of pantomime, which explains his presence in the film and explains his presence in the film. But then the fucking the setup, reminder, twist, the third shocking thing is that this is Lily Allen's father.
Yeah. Lily Allen, as we know, an agent of the deep state. But like,
talent skips a generation, apparently.
The way I would describe this this sort of dynamic that he has with every other actor in this movie is only human in a cast of Muppets. Like, there's
this guy's a Muppet in a cast of Muppets. This guy's Muppet Squared. He's so offbeat. No. In every scene, he's like not listening to any other performer. He's just like, no, the emotional tempo of this scene is what I say. Essentially,
it's perfect because he's playing like an ice chewing CIA psycho who like stirs his coffee with a K-bar, who is like being forced to look after kids and do child minding and hates it. It rules. One bright spot of this movie.
Sometimes not being able to act is the perfect character choice.
Yes. Sometimes you simply need to cast a bad actor, and that's all there is to it.
Sometimes the stop clock is right all day. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes it's broken in a way that just follows you around.
Absolutely.
But so an alarm goes off because the parents are coming to visit, and so they have to conceal all of their CIA shit, all of the, like, this is a fun little sequence. They, like, stow all of their spy gear and stuff.
We also see that all the other kids on the camp really look up to Cody Banks, and they think he's the best.
They do.
Yeah, they've got the small kid, they've got the weirdly ripped kid.
Yeah,
this kid's not ripped, he's just shirtless. Like, this kid's just got a bandana on and no shirt, and that's his like character.
Fine. The weirdly ripped Cody
he's not
kid.
in it. And at this point, like, at least 2 of the kids have looked directly at the camera that I've clocked.
Yes, that's happened.
Can't stop doing it.
But they're all like, Jesus Christ, that's Cody Banks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you get like the sequence of all of the super spy CIA summer camp activities being replaced with normal ones for a summer camp, like. All of the rockets go back underground. People start hiding the jet skis. It's like it's a fun little sequence.
And and we see Cody's parents, who are sort of put upon and beleaguered and kind of dumb, and his younger brother Alex,
Yeah, his younger brother Will Byers from Stranger Things.
Yeah, Will Byers from Stranger Things, who just incidentally delivers this line.
Actor. Isn't there some sort of exchange program we could trade him in for like a hot chick?
Well, there
yes,
is,
but it takes a while.
He's like 16, so like at least 2 years of puberty blockers. So,
well, I mean, not in a normal country.
That's
in
true.
This one, there would be, in theory, 2 years, but in reality, no years.
Yeah, Agent Cody Banks 3, Destination Informed Consent Pathway.
Destination A Strange Clinic.
It's a very strange.
To be realistic, Destination Canada to get like informed consent healthcare.
Destination Yerevan.
Yeah,
but yeah, his family don't know that he's Destination Yerevan. His family don't know. His family don't know he's in the CIA, much like mine.
Yeah. Captain Diaz like hates everything.
Oh, he fucking hates
They do a sing along.
Yeah.
And then the next night, like 2 black helicopters fucking zero dark 30 the summer camp, which is I was a bit concerned about where this was going, you know.
In my life, many times when watching one of these movies, I've written the phrase "series of things happen," but never more so, I think, than the opening of Agent Cody Banks 2 Destination London.
It was funny that they had to get guys who like knew how to fast rope out of a helicopter to be in Agent Cody Banks 2 Destination London for this.
You remember that bit in Spy Kids 2, listeners, where the kids punched the bad guys, and it was like quite funny and charming in a way?
Yes.
We do that here, but it's not good. So the kids defeat the troops.
Stretch out for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, they like tie their shoelaces together and like trip them up, and we get like boing, boing, like sound effects. It's just like, oh, Jesus.
We didn't know how good we had it with Spy Kids.
No, truly
right?
we did
because as much as like those were an insane series of movies, and I think we still have one left.
Yeah, we haven't touched Spy Kids 1 owing to our rules.
Or Spy Kids 4.
They're so much better made than this.
Oh.
So yeah, they attack the camp, the kids fight them, and Cody Banks gets Captain Diaz, who they think that is the target of the attack, to safety. They evacuate him in a helicopter. Just in time for Keith David, a guy I love to see in a movie, or a video game, or anything. Goliath, Dr. Facilier, to show up as the director of the CIA, and go, no, we were actually trying to kill him, it wasn't like an exercise or anything. Follow me to the secret lab underneath the summer camp.
Earnestly zero dark 30ing this summer camp.
Yeah, we were fully like trying to rendition him, and what you've done is you've perpetrated a series of like childlike goofs on us while we were trying to do that.
But in a classic bit of American policing, they went in far too hot and announced their presence. They went in with 2 helicopters. I would simply have knocked on the door and arrested the man. Would have been a lot easier.
It was a no-knock raid on a summer camp. Yeah. So at this point, he takes him down into the basement of like forbidden knowledge, forbidden inventions, which it has segues in it because those were cool whenever this movie came out. I didn't check. I didn't care enough to. No, but they did once kill their inventor by like driving him off a cliff, which to me is like the perfect illustration of hubris, you know?
Creating the segue and then meeting it on top of a glacier, and it's like, I expected this reception. Why are you so cruel to me when you of all creatures owe me love?
Some sort of like motorized Daedalus being like, you know, I'm really good at creating sort of wheeled transport.
Definitely
segue like, I ought to be thy atom. Build me another of my kind.
Definitely the second funniest inventor killed by his own invention after like Midgley Jr.
Yeah, that's true. But so what Keith David does is explains to him, okay, so you know about MK Ultra, right?
Yes.
A CIA mind control program.
It's a CIA mind control program.
It's a CIA mind control program. It was a secret kill squad. But he genuinely explains, like, yeah, we were trying to do mind control at the CIA, but for like educational purposes.
Yeah.
And then
thing the CIA is famously involved in.
Yeah, and then this guy tried to do it, but bad, and he shows him like a little iPad thing. And the placeholder text, which I paused to see, which you weren't really able to do when this came out, is a fairly accurate depiction of the US Army's Edgewood Arsenal tests as part of Operation Third Chance and Operation Derby Hat, where it's literally horrific. It's a piece of text about the time that they captured, dosed up with LSD, and psychologically tortured a soldier they suspected of stealing classified documents for 3 months at a black site.
Wow. When you say psychological torture, how does that actually work?
A lot of like weird temperature changes and noises and like verbal degradation and like humiliation, the fun stuff.
Just make you read the replies to my tweets.
Yeah, they've got this one account that like knows exactly what they think you did, and they're going to post about it non-stop.
They show you this picture of the cute library alien, and you just go insane.
4 days later, you just absolutely fucking mad. Dose you up with LSD and show you children's literacy mascots until you're fucking bananas.
What am I meant to assume about this mascot? What's its mum look like?
Where is its mother?
Tell me what genitals it has now! It's good. And it's the most English way to torture someone. Friend of a show.
Yeah. So Google James R. Thornwell for a horrifying story. Fun note that they swapped out his name with the name of the VFX producer of the movie as a sort of Easter egg. But like,
put that in the movie. Why would? You might be the first person to catch this, by the way. It's not even listed in the trivia on like IMDb. Or...
No. It's fully like in December 1960, a so-called special purpose team was assembled that like dosed motherfuckers up with LSD across multiple countries, 3 continents. It's really bad. At one point, one of them got so concerned about the fact that they were dosing so many people with LSD that he got paranoid that they had dosed him with LSD, and their solution was, why don't we give you some LSD so you can compare and contrast whether or not we've done it?
When you've got LSD, every solution is just LSD, essentially.
Yeah. When all you've got is a hammer, all your solutions look like LSD.
Experimental Agent 1729, if anyone was curious. They really went quite heavily into the LSD. And that sort of distracted me for a while. It took me 4 hours to watch an hour and a half movie for children because I'm neurotypical.
It felt about that long when I watched it from beginning to end.
In large part because when I read this, I felt like so brushed by the wings of something dark that I had to like pause and get up and walk around for a bit and read a bunch about Edgewood Arsenal.
That's an unbelievably fucked thing to put in a children's movie.
It's just like, CIA mind control real. Here are some historical details about the time we threatened to drive a guy permanently insane and basically did.
And like,
anyway,
you could have just used lorem ipsum at this. Like, there's
no
reason
to have
done
someone
this.
had to source that text.
Someone on this film knew about the horrible things the CIA did and still portrayed them as the good guys in this film.
It wasn't actually as easy to find out this stuff back then either. Also, the text there talks about like targeted individuals, which is a whole other thing. Anyway,
we're not going to get into targeted individuals. Rest assured,
no.
My God.
So Diaz has stolen 2 CDs that make the mind control but bad work.
Yeah, this is literally like the way the movie frames it as well. They're just like, we did mind control, but we were using it for like education. Diaz did it the bad way. And then the headline of the text that you've just read was like, Diaz does it the bad way, and a picture of him. And then underneath some extraordinarily insane text.
Yeah, for like visual
like
gag
throwaway.
to be like, and then the subhead is like,
the subhead is just like,
hey, do you know this?
You're like, no.
Yeah, in 1979, the CIA sent a guy with a light bulb full of a fucking attenuated bacteriological weapon into the New York City subway, where he broke it on a station and deliberately tried to like test how it infected people through the ventilation, which it did, and it killed about a dozen people. Anyway, there's only one guy in the world who can make the discs work and do mind control to people. And it's fucking...
a guy named Lord Kenworth, British peer. Evil scientist.
James Faulkner, who does, according to his like Wikipedia page, does a line in like British peer. That's like his thing. So we're gonna have to get you to infiltrate his house, his mansion, under the cover of an international youth orchestra. It says in your file that you played the clarinet for 3 years, but Cody reveals that he was lying about this in order to gaslight girls into dating him. So at this point, they go, "That's fine.
Whatever."
They're
probably just like, "Yeah, whatever."
We'll teach you to play the fucking clarinet. Cut to that scene from Deutschland '83. Listen, about a tenth of the audience are laughing right now, but
they're laughing hard.
You have. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, he flies to London, and we get a song which is like, we couldn't afford the Clash. They wanted London Calling, but couldn't get it.
I also wrote royalty-free London Calling.
Yes.
London. Yeah, that's the way it goes.
I will be referring back to this. London.
Just up top, it's before we get to meet all of the British characters that we will meet throughout this, and just to be not English, British, no T. These people. It's so nice to see a movie being racist against England. I've never seen it.
It is. It genuinely. It legitimately. It's along with Joe Biden, right? This is my shining light of unexpected but very real anti-English prejudice, and we deserve it, you know.
I think I've got some interesting things to say later on about like the portrayal of English twee aristocracy, but yes, we go to Britain, and
no, not just to Britain too.
God. Thank you, yes. So Cody meets his handler, played by Anthony Anderson, who is too good for this film.
Well, the thing is about Anthony Anderson, right? So I wrote down guy I love to see, and then I did some Googling, and I wrote down under that until I saw that his Wikipedia page has an allegations section, and now he's not a guy I like to see, which is a shame.
He
is too good for this movie. Yes.
Still too good for this movie.
He is.
Yeah, no, this guy's such an American character. This guy's like one of the shared mythology of America, which is just like we've got a large black man to be really, really over the top. It's like it's
he's like, and he's funny. He's your friend.
It's like Donkey and Shrek.
As a comic relief
it's
character.
like the entire Norbit thing. Like this is just. It's the way things go.
More or less like every role Chris Tucker has ever played. Yeah.
Playing an archetype.
There's a lot of Eddie Murphy.
Oh, definitely.
It's an archetype. And you know, he takes him to their command center, which is a black cab driven by a guy named Kumar, because and I guess it's topical. I guess this is a Pimp My Ride joke, that it has like all of the secret features, chief among them a big sound system, but like I watched the scene and I wrote down, another day of writing not racistly. Dusting hands. It's another one on the can, and it's not racist.
Yeah, no.
Also, they drive through London, which is in a sort of very tourist series of shots. Like, hey, check out the London Eye. They all get out of the cab, and I realize all three of them, Kumar, Anthony Anderson, Frankie Muniz, all wearing the civilian version of the traditional USian huge suit, where it's like regular clothes, but it's fitted like the huge suit. I guess this is just how clothes were in.
I think this is just what Americans wore in like the early noughties. They just wore clothes that were too big. It's very odd.
Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
doesn't have the same sort of like valence as the huge suit.
It's not quite as good as the traditional USian huge suit. You get such a like TripAdvisor Baby's First London like montage. They drive past fucking House of Parliament, they point at the tower and they go, "That's Big Ben." No, it isn't, but like whatever, who gives a shit? And then
they get on the London Eye,
and then they go into the London Dungeon underneath the fucking London County Council
the London
building.
Dungeon. This is worth your money. This is worth going into.
If they would have gone one door across,
the London Crypts.
Yeah. If they had only done one door across, they could have had this entire like fucking fake Q scene in Shrek's Adventure, and that would have been much better, I think.
But yeah, they divert off the ride, and Cody has to meet a second British person.
Do we need to explain to audiences what the London Dungeon is? It's
a fairground ride, but
it's like Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's like, oh, it's Jack the Ripper. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Ooh,
yeah.
So he meets a second British person who appears to be what I would describe. I've written down here as an eccentric laudanum addicted paedophile.
My notes just say a very racist depiction of a British person.
So like Nigel Thornberry, but like dosed to the gills on opium, enters the scene making
this is the guy the CIA gave all that LSD to.
Yeah, and he enters the scene making this noise. he will be making this throughout the scene.
He's got like bad teeth. He's like drinking a cup of tea. It's like really bad.
Yeah, like here's the thing, right? There's a difference between expectation and what this movie actually gives you. I went into this movie expecting a bit of like light-hearted American chauvinism, right? Just being like, "Oh, you're quite silly, aren't you, as a nation?" Instead, what I got was a sort of brutal psychological assault on the concept of Britishness.
Yes, what the fuck?
I mean, the character even calls London a backwater at one point, which I found to be fantastic.
Anthony Anderson says they screwed up and they sent me to this fucking backwater. I'm like, this is still one of the cultural and financial capitals of the world. I'm not even from here and I hate this fucking city, but still, fuck you. Like,
it's one of those things like,
you want to talk about being from a backwater? You're from the United States of America. Fuck off.
We can talk shit about Britain. That's fine. That's legal. That's allowed. You can't fucking talk shit about Britain. No,
this character genuinely is like a slur on British people. Not an inaccurate one, but
the 1st of May, this is where I first had the implication, but I'm going to reveal it here. This entire movie is just a series of failed attempts to get a Kaufman star. Every single scene, there's like one guy, and it's his one scene, and he goes ape shit, and then you never see him again.
Oh my god, he's so right.
It's literally true. Like, he's working so hard for the Kaufman, like... And there's so many bits like this, and it never lands, any of them. So it just comes off as, like, mean-spirited.
It's kind of incredible to watch a film just try bit after bit after bit, and they all fail. Every single one. Like, it's like listening to a lesser James Bond podcast.
I don't believe there are any other James Bond podcasts.
So,
but anyway, this guy's he's fucking Q, so he gives Cody his gadgets.
This is
he's like
Q.
fucking satanic zone Q.
We've seen so many fucking Qs, and this is absolute bottom of the barrel. This guy,
he's down there with like never say never again Q.
Cockney Q.
My man is fucking S.
he gives him some fucking devices, a like directional microphone built into a retainer. Some Mentos that explode when you lick them for blowing open doors. Some other shit I don't recall.
A grapple pen? I don't think he uses that. A yo-yo that he uses. Oh, does he? And a clarinet.
You have to use all of this shit, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
At this point, he has to go to the mansion and meet Lord Kenworth's wife.
This is a good
Lady
bit,
Kenworth.
I think,
now,
from her.
This is the other reason why this movie took me 4 hours to watch, is because anytime Anna Chancellor is on screen, I just start thinking about the shape that her chin is and how I want into like. So
I didn't notice anything. I'm gonna Google this woman.
Anna Chancellor. I mean, the thing is, this role is like significantly more severe than I would say she usually plays. She was in an actually quite good BBC drama called The Hour for a long time. She was in another BBC drama called Spooks that was also good. I keep referencing it because it's a spy show, but we're never going to watch it because TV.
Never going to watch any of the TV shows.
Yeah, so...
Stop right there. It's the winter of content, which means that this space that would have typically held an advert for our Patreon has been handed over to me to talk about upcoming industrial action over the month of October. Hell, you can still subscribe to the Patreon if you want to. But before you do that, there are a number of donation links in the description that you should take a quick look at. See if you would like to support any of those. All right, industrial action news is as follows. Unison's strike ballot opened this week, so if you're a healthcare worker represented by Unison, remember to vote yes for a strike, because, hell, why ever not? If you are a healthcare worker represented by Unite or GMB, their strike ballots are due to open later this month. No date has been set yet, but I will update you as information is announced. UCU, the University and College Workers Union, the ballot is ongoing. Make sure you get that in ASAP. You can request a replacement ballot until the 12th of this month, and there is a strike fund that you can donate to that will be in the description of this episode. Further, there are cost of living strikes planned by the UCU this month. The dates are the 6th and 7th, the 10th and 11th, the 18th, 19th, and 20th. If you're not a university worker, but you live near enough a university, check out if a strike's happening and feel free to join the picket. Solidarity, things of this nature. I shall be doing this. The postal strike is ongoing. The dates planned for this month are the 13th, 20th, and 25th. Please support these in any way you see fit. Yeah, that's enough of that. I'll let you get back to listening to fucking Cody Banks 2 Destination London.
Yes. So she's playing sort
is this
of
woman
like
cis?
Now you understand.
So
Now you get.
normally to get a chin and jawline like that, you would have to go to a transgender woman. But no, she is just posh. She's like, you get posh enough on a like linear English scale, you become transgender.
That's what happened
right?
to me.
Yeah, it's like it had the U happen to like Eva Green, happen to fucking Nigella Lawson. You know, so yeah, all of these women, and you know how I feel about women who look like this. So but she's playing a sort of like art teachery, or I guess in this case, music teachery, kind of like scatterbrained role. I don't care. I'm not paying attention. I've stopped listening to the script at this point. I'm just thinking about various things. I'm like making notes about like fucking budgeting for FFS. And like taking screenshots to show the surgeon. And we meet the fucking.
I don't know. Like this is like FMS.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe I need some of that.
Anyway, she has a butler.
She does.
Called Treble, and the joke is that he's senile.
Yeah, that's the joke.
It isn't funny.
British people are a series of like type. This feels about British people the way the movie Men feels about men. It's like
so here's a good point to talk about like the portrayal of British aristocracy. Like the film depicts British aristos as like twee and out of touch and like eccentric and a little bit weird. And on the one hand, it's true, like the British aristocracy is very like that, but it's not just kind of a harmless character effect. The reason our aristocrats are weird is because they have been insulated from the real world for so long by the kind of massive violence that they did to people of another country through imperialism, but also to like the working class of this country too. Like, yes, the upper classes of Britain are sort of strange and eccentric, but they are that way because they like live on top of a mountain of fucking corpses and never have to engage with the real world.
Absolutely. So at this point we have to meet the International Youth Orchestra. And I wrote down, wow, this feels racist again.
Yeah.
How would we describe the deal with these children, with these kids?
It's a national stereotype orchestra, International Orchestra of Stereotypical Children. So there's a big blonde kid from Germany who plays the double bass.
Yeah, it's like the clinic from On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh my god, it is, yeah.
Various country stereotypes,
various
all in
nationalities represented. Yeah, there's like a kid who plays the French horn, who I guess is Nigerian. There's an Indian kid who immediately like sort of like nerdily gloms onto Cody Banks as like best friends forever. There's a British kid, a British child, who plays the flute. All of them can play their instruments. Cody cannot because he's faking it.
They probably did want to get London Calling, but couldn't do it.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm just gonna do it again.
No.
It's so
Landon.
royalty free,
So
man.
Emily at this point says, "Do you want a Mentos?" And like prominently shows the thing and eats a Mentos, and because said, "No, it'll explode," and then like pulls it out of her mouth and throws it out the window and ducks, and then obviously it doesn't explode because it's just a normal Mentos, and they all think that he's weird.
Yeah, this is, but they get over it remarkably quickly. He doesn't like have to hear about this for the next 10 years or whatever.
They don't call him Menti as a nickname, which British children obviously would.
Yeah, it's not still like, you know, on his Facebook wall like 25 years later or anything.
So they find out
not that I'm holding any grudges. Anyway,
they find out that they are going to be playing, the International Youth Orchestra are going to be playing at the G7 Summit, which is going to be taking place at Buckingham Palace.
Yes.
And then
for Prince Andrew.
and Cody Banks is like, "Oh shit, there's a G7 Summit going on. Somebody's running around with mind control. That's obviously the target." Then we see that that Anthony Anderson is undercover as the chef, and he serves American food. And all the British people are like, "I say."
The senile butler has to like struggle to ring the big dinner gong, and obviously this is a sort of very involved, obscure slight against the aged British rank organization, as opposed to the like virile, leonine American MGM who produced this movie. It's all wheels within wheels. There's a lot of like deep symbolism here.
That's why it takes 4 hours to watch the movie. You've got to really like...
Yeah, exactly.
It's a rich text.
It's a tapestry,
yes.
I would say.
Yeah. And he makes them American food. He makes them crawfish and grits. The traditional food of Compton, I guess. We do some bits, we do some jokes. They're not very good. I literally, like, the next sort of half hour of this movie, I have 2 notes, one of which is the words dog comedy. Yeah, comedy or something. So like, Anna Chancellor, do you think it's like a head?
Diaz meets Kenwood, meets Lord Coleman. It's like, "Yo, let's do mind control." Kenwood mind controls his dog to pour drinks to play the piano. He's like, "Look, I've got the mind control working. Give me the second disc. I'll do mind control. We'll mind control the world leaders. It'll be great. We'll take over the world." There's a bit where Cody has lunch with Emily. And it's kind of a meet cute. And she's like, "Who's your favorite composer?" And he looks at the ketchup and he's like, "Heinz." Yeah. The head of the Music Academy is also a weird, racist British character.
Yeah, he...
Aren't you one of Lady Kenwood's foreign, Johnny?
And it's just sort of generally along these lines. In fairness, every teacher at my school was like this.
Yes, that's true. He also looks and sounds a lot like a lot of the teachers at my school as well. But also, fuck off.
Yeah. Again, like, we're not saying any of this is inaccurate. Like, all of this is sort of a League of Gentlemen, sort of like Little Britain level of contempt and horror for the British public. But it deserved.
Like, it is funny. The accent that they're making Hannah Spirit do is good. Like, it's properly like, he's a bit odd. Like, they ask about fucking Heinz, and he's like, "What's his best work?" And I'm like, "Oh God, Jesus Christ!"
Yeah, what is this girl's accent? Is that how she really sounds?
I don't know. If it is, I'm ever so sorry, but more sympathetically than apologetically.
Armed with the dog evidence, they're like, "Okay, you got to go break into Kenworth's lab, which is in the Tate Modern."
Yeah, that's really weird that there's just like, they've shown us all these landmarks of London. They're like, "This is Kenworth Labs," and I'm like, "No, it isn't. That's the Tate."
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean,
I see that every day. Like,
they're trying to dissuade you from going to the Tate Modern, which they should do, because you will have a disappointing time.
Yeah, because they moved the Rothkos to the Tate Britain.
I quite like the Tate Modern, but yeah, no, there are some curational problems.
Hit and miss.
Yeah.
This has been the Kill James Bond culture segment.
Yeah, it's every episode we just like lightly review a museum.
Royal
we
Portugal
always edit
nice,
it out
though.
until now. Yeah.
And then Lord Kenworth farts in a lift, which is truly the nadir of the film. It's whatever, man.
Yeah. So Anthony Anderson has to try and like provide cover to get Cody in, which he does by like bringing in some urine samples and like spilling them on a guy's sandwich, the security guard sandwich. After he leaves, the security guard does eat it, which is the only moment of cinema or comedy or like true life in this movie. It's obviously like a sort of a metaphor for our knowing consumption of ideology. It's a lot like the second circle of Sallow. So you can really like, it's one of those things where you can really tease out the sort of the Pasolinian sort of like métier here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Lord Kenmouth farts in a lift.
We're all worried about this episode making it to time.
So Cody sneaks into the lab and he finds out that Kenmouth and Diaz, they've put a mind-controlled chip in a fake tooth. And then they knock out their victims with knockout gas. And then they put the fake tooth in and then they can mind-control them. They have
I
a guy...
have two thoughts about this dentistry thing. First of all, this is obviously like a movie that's intended to like give kids nightmares about going to the dentist, which fair enough. But second of all, this is a very tinfoil hat-pilled thing to deploy on the viewer. Like, your fillings are controlling your mind is just sort of like, if anyone's having sort of any latent dissociative disorders in the audience as a child, really like flush those right the fuck out now. So this is, as you say, the behest of the dentist Santiago. I don't know what his deal is.
Yeah, what is this guy?
He's a very strange doctor.
He looks like a discount Mark Heap.
Santiago Segura. I don't know. This is a guy.
Weird, creepy doctor. Anyway, so Cody trips the alarm and escapes, but he gets spotted on the CCTV, and they're like, "Jesus Christ, that's Cody Banks."
Santiago's another one of those like sort of genre of like Peter Stormare coded people that are just never. Every time I see one of these guys, I'm like, it should have been Peter Stormare. He should be in there. Unfortunately.
Yeah, well, you need an evil scientist character, right? And so like you want like a Russian guy or you want like a German guy, and I'm like,
you Valdor Bruchev.
Why have you gone for this?
Spanish.
Why Spanish? Like, it just doesn't work.
You don't. Yeah. But so one of the security guards who all have regional accents, and they're the only people who do. Every other every other British person sounds either like,
Aren't you one of Lady Kenwood's foreign, Johnny?
Or like, and like the security guards are like from Liverpool or Manchester either.
Just a normal sounding guy. You're like, oh yeah. Well, I would
like
guess the movie's
saying like these are equally comical to us.
But Cody makes it back to the music academy, and they're like, "Oh, this should play a solo in front of everyone." He's like, I can't play." And then it's fucking gadget clarinet, so it plays itself.
Yeah, plays fucking Flight of the Bumblebee. They all start jamming.
Like the fucking the Deutschland 83 joke. Fucking watch the show because it's really good, and it's in the first episode. Right. Oh God.
Let's have a stretch. All right, let's not just.
Cody, 7th inning stretch. Right, Cody like excuses himself again because Diaz is following him, and they know that he is. And so this sets off a chase sequence with Cody, his handler, and Diaz, who has a rocket launcher concealed in sort of like flashlight and torch.
Cody's handler borrows a bike off a British guy who's
this guy's a mod, like an old school like Rockers versus mod. I'm like, were these guys around in 2004? I feel like this is a way older thing. It's like suddenly like the movie's set in America and suddenly you run into like a hippie and it's like, oh, they have those in America. It's like, not for like 30 years, man.
I'm sure we've inflicted similar sort of like cinematic crimes on the Americans in our time. But yeah, it genuinely does feel a bit weird at this point. Just because, again, like every British character in this is almost incomprehensible. Like
that's to us.
Maybe this is like holding up a sort of a twisted mirror and allowing us to see our own society quite clearly and being like, oh, we really are like horrifying shit-covered orcs all the time. But like, genuinely, it's quite weird. Anyway, so Cody leads them into the historic water bottle factory district of London.
I wrote final fight in the water room.
Yeah, it's just like a room stacked full of the bottles for water coolers. And we see Diaz has one superpower, the one superpower that the English cannot tolerate. something which like allows you to land effortless knee and elbow strikes on anyone on Twitter. If you are an American and you come to this country and you simply,
I am not bald.
it's all you need, will infuriate any one of us.
They have a fight. It doesn't go anywhere because Cody is arrested by the Metropolitan Police.
Oh, this
Cody's
bit,
arrested
this bit,
and he goes completely Sigma male for like one full scene.
Yeah, so
John
genuinely,
Wick
because
shit.
this movie does not respect the British so much that it then takes the idea of like a British guy who is also a cop and laughs even harder.
So good.
So he gets arrested by armed Met Police. Very weird to see a Ford Mondeo ARV, but such was the time in 2004.
Yeah, so this film, it shows the Metropolitan Police as being like sort of bumbling, like working like, you know, friendly PC, like local bobbies and stuff. And it's like some police forces outside of London in rural areas are like that if you are white. But like the Met are absolute fucking psychopaths. Like, there are a lot of, like, honest-to-God fucking Nazis in the Metropolitan Police. Like, they are total fucking psychos.
And you can't be like, it was a different time, because no, if anything,
was
the
not.
further you go back in time, it was worse.
It was worse. So, like,
you know, this is like living memory of the big "I've met the Met" stickers being stuck on people being kicked out of the back of vans, you know?
Yeah, like, so we meet Police Commissioner, who's played by a British actor called Mark Williams, who's, like, very good actor.
Yeah, but who's métier? I've said métier twice in this episode. His like fucking his working idiom is sort of bumbling and affable.
Yeah, he was Ron Weasley's dad in the Harry Potter films. That's what you probably know.
He was Father Brown in the Father Brown adaptation.
And it's like, I do not believe that this man has risen anywhere in the Metropolitan Police, because if this man was in the Metropolitan
anywhere
Police,
if you're in the Masons, can't you?
Well, no, if this man was in the Metropolitan Police, he would have been kicked to death for being gay.
I don't know. He's meant to be like a fucking chief superintendent or something like that. So like maybe he's like been parachuted in from Surrey. But like yeah, so essentially Cody just laughs at the idea that a British person can be a cop, which is I would say the correct thing to do if you are ever arrested in London is just to, like, find the idea that a British person has any authority to arrest you hysterical.
It's so funny, because he literally is just like, look, in about 3 minutes, maybe less, that phone's going to ring, you're going to listen to it, and then you're going to apologize to me and let me go. And, like, it's such, like, like, he's fully just sat there, like... And you're like, yeah.
But he does the fucking thing from Lord of War, where he's just like, yeah, that phone's gonna ring and you're gonna let me go.
Yeah.
It's so ultra Chad out of nowhere for no fucking reason. It's such a good scene.
Just to really sort of like flex the superpower muscles there, yeah. And this is exactly what happens. And when he is released, he makes the cop apologize to him, which is... This was a great time in US-UK relations. Yeah. So at this point, he walks down the hall and bumps into...
Well, he's taken to see her, in fact.
Yes. Emily, because the thing is, right, Britain, we invented the child spy. You know, we did this first. We had Alex Rider before he fucking aged out into a twink.
We've had child workers and child soldiers like well before the US existed.
Yeah. Dickensian
Some
shit
of those
in every
chimney
field.
sweeps worked for MI6.
Yeah.
Planting listening devices.
That's smart.
But there is literally a scene in this movie where he listens into a conversation from a chimney. And, like, you got to be a child to fit down one of those. So... seems logical to me. Where's my Victorian child spy movie?
Patent pending.
Patent pending. She's like an undercover officer, and she's like a femme fatale. And when we come in the office, there's a shot of her with like her legs up on her desk that feels illegal. I feel very strongly about this.
Again, the kind of Spy Kids 2 problem of you can't do these kind of like coded things when the actor is a child, because it just seems weird.
It's basic instinct, but like this is
a child,
16-year-old or something. I'm very, very uncomfortable.
Britain.
Yes,
we are not a fan of this.
Not a
fan of child pornography.
The thing about this movie is that it correctly identifies that everyone in Britain is hateful awful caricature. And then it also goes, hey, you know what? A lot of pedophilia in this country as well.
That's also
Weird.
true, yeah.
Hey, look, and again, they're not wrong, but it's
critique.
Come
it's
on.
critique. You can't argue with it.
I'm not going to argue. It's just, I don't know, they're in a position to do it.
Britain like absorbing fucking 26 consecutive blows here. But because she's like a hard-bitten undercover cop, she's like, do you want to go to London's sort of like edgy Chinatown district with me?
As if fucking like the Chinatown in. They're trying to make it out like this is the fucking like Blade Runner, but Chinatown is like one of the most tourist like cool places. Because like, you're on the edge of Soho, like the M&M store is like
away.
1 block over.
It's genuinely, it's 1 street away from Leicester Square, the worst place in London.
Yeah. Like the Lego store is literally round the corner from Chinatown in London.
It's unfucking
I've never been so
believable.
glad that they didn't decide to do some Chinese music, you know?
Oh yeah, no, because you know exactly where it would have fit in as well, because they did that thing where they opened the camera on the like arch and then moved down to show everyone, and you're like, oh.
It's like, oh no, what if I have to pay £60 for a fucking takeaway?
which they basically do. They get a rickshaw because that's sustainable, and then Cody gets kidnapped immediately with the knockout spray. They put the fucking mind control chip in him. There is a fun little joke, which is the dentist trying to do actual dentistry. So like the other guys are like, we put the thing in him. He's like, well, he's got like a small filling and like a small cavity in like lower left 3 that I want to get it. And
I realize this is criticizing the performance of a child actor, but I would have liked to see Frankie Muniz.
Good, they've had it too easy for
right.
I would have liked to see Frankie Muniz do more with evil Cody under mind control. That would have been fun.
Yeah, but he wakes up.
Change his costume, like give him a different hairstyle, make him emo or something.
Yeah, do like fucking a Spider-Man 3 situation.
Yeah.
Make him weird with it. But instead he's just sort of like, he's sort of annoying, really.
Also, they just like immediately just get it out of him. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
that should have been the climax of the film.
We have a brief moment of sort of like body horror and lack of autonomy of having like Cody having a serious neurological event where he just like repeats himself and like throws food everywhere. And it's like, yeah, been there. Hope never to again. Quite heavy shit
it's
to
like
like
Joe
deploy
Biden.
the child's movie.
No, very strong. He's like throwing fistfuls of beans at all the other kids, and they're all giggling. And I wrote, if anyone threw a fistful of beans at me, I'd be the most furious motherfucker on God's earth.
That's a waste of fucking beans.
Great Western though.
Waste of fucking beans, yeah.
Also, he just says beans on toast. Weird.
Yeah.
Which,
So
true.
No.
Admittedly
That's
true.
good.
They get it out of him with the expedient of like cutting up one of the explosive Mentos really small and like exploding a tooth out of his mouth, which is also pretty
Horrifying.
fucking. That's sort of pitched at about a sort of a Cronenberg level of body horror there.
Also, are they implying that Anthony Anderson knows exactly how small to cut the Mentos because he deals drugs? Is that the joke?
I did wonder if there was a crack joke in here. I'm not sure.
Also, but like, who was selling the crack, guys? Like, just think it through.
Well, that's of course he knows how. He's a
good
fucking
joke.
CIA
exactly.
agent.
That would have been a good joke, but no.
Well, in any
because
case,
she would have been like, how do you know so much about like crack? And you go, I work for the CIA. Like that's the joke. Like,
yeah, they implant Keith David with the mind control thing, and then they go to Buckingham Palace to implant all of the G7 leaders with it.
we
also
get
go to
Rule
Buckingham
Britannia. There's Anthony Anderson is dressed as a Nigerian dignitary, which
yeah. Again, sort of comedy. This is what comedy was in 2004. We get it. There is one piece of analysis that I have here, which is when we see the various G7 dignitaries, we get a Tony Blair impersonator.
We do. We get a little Tonti.
Man, he was really the last time anyone knew or cared who the prime minister was. Like even Boris didn't make that much of an impression.
Yeah, we've had about 5,000 prime ministers since then, none of whom have been elected. So
you imagine
I
fucking
think...
Gordon Brown impersonator in a movie like this? Just no, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Tony Blair was on The Simpsons. Like, that's the last time anyone really gave a shit.
It was a cultural moment, and it made me realize that a lot of the Labour right who talk endlessly about like Blairism and winning elections are as much like starfuckers as anything. You know?
They're just
like,
clout sharks.
They want that international prestige
They
back.
just
and
want
it's
Americans to
never
think that they're hot, which, I mean, same.
All of them get mind controlled. Kenworth, in his most bizarre decision, goes, okay, once everything is falling into place, we're about to rule the world, therefore, I am leaving Anna Chancellor, my wife. For whom? Why? Under what circumstances? Listen, if I wouldn't... I'm struggling to imagine a series of events that would, like, allow me to divorce Anna Chancellor, because I would spend every day of my life.
So Tony Blair has been mind controlled to name Lord Kenwood the director of the Royal Mint, and then his wife, Anna Chancellor's like, congratulations, and he's like, thank you, I'm leaving you. Also, they've mind controlled all the world leaders except the president, and the president is not George Bush. He's just dude.
He's
a
a
guy.
guy.
He's just a dude.
President Guy. I love President Guy when there's a president who just has to like be around.
It's really weird. It's like, well, hang on a minute, you've got Tony Blair here, and also as we see, there's the Queen Elizabeth
Yes,
II.
Queen detectives.
Inspired.
But it's not George W. Bush.
Yeah. So the youth orchestra, they have to like convince them that they're really spies, which they do by beating up the little German child. And then like that. No, little German boy, don't go into Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London. Mein Gott, is full of British people.
Racism against the British.
Yeah. Well. So the orchestra has to fucking stall for time. The little German boy does a cover of War. What is it good for?
At this point, I was very liberally using the 10 seconds forward button on Amazon Prime. I was just like, no, I don't need to see this. I don't need to see this.
I didn't realize that was an option. It really
Queen
is.
Dances.
Like, it's War. What is it good for? Like mashed up with the Cody Banks theme. It's really bad.
It sucks.
The Queen and Tony Blair dance. Derek is mind controlled to kill Cody, but then he's not.
Emily does a lot of like a troubling, illegal number of like high kicks and stuff.
Yeah,
this is one move.
Not good.
It's like a jump kick.
Yeah. Cody like gets in the fight in the fucking palace gift
My
room.
notes here say, "Please let it end."
One thing I did fail to mention is that at the camp way at the beginning, because this is like a sort of a brick line that comes back again. Like a brick does.
Yeah.
So Diaz tells him at the beginning,
Friends, enemies, everybody, they're all the same. Remember, trust equals death.
which to me is a Cienfuegos moment, because if you remember Mamma Mia 2, which is a very sort of light-hearted sort of musical number, Senor Cienfuegos just drops in.
Enough for me. She left. Never to return. But don't you worry. I have made my peace with pain.
Yes, these two characters, that's how I live my life.
But I'd like to award a little sort of like very de minimis award here, like a little Cienfuegos ribbon or something for dropping a sort of a weirdly hard emotional thing into your lighthearted movie. But yeah, so he tells him this again, and Cody's like, no, because I have my friends to support me, and he I think he knocks him unconscious with like a walrus horn or something.
Yeah.
Kenwood gets arrested. It turns out the senile butler was a secret agent. There's a very chaste kiss on the cheek from Emily because it's a children's film.
Yeah, because that female affection is a reward for doing your job well. This is a normal thing to teach children. Anthony Anderson gets let back into the proper CIA and becomes a camp counselor at the camp CIA.
It's really funny how that is oh, you're back in the CIA. Oh, cool. Do I get to torture people? Do I get to kill people? No, you're supervising children still. But now you do it in America.
Well, depending on what you believe about Epstein, a decent number of CIA officers spent some time supervising children. But so Cody's family comes to pick him up from camp. No, I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I'm just observing and reporting. Yeah. And Cody's brother tries to eat the Mentos, so we end with almost fucking suicide bombing a minivan with a family in it.
That would have been a fucking dark ending. Cody knows too much. Check him out.
There was
Killing
no
a
sequel
child.
that was done, so my assumption is that they did. Just that's my belief. In the same way that Lass from Spy Kids absolutely started doing torture, they just killed Cody Banks off screen.
But we'll find out when we watch Spy Kids 4.
It's not the same two guys. Direct to fucking DVD sequel.
What does this movie say about masculinity?
I don't
And
know.
What does it say
but
about severe-looking dark-haired
one
women?
thing I do want to say
How do I become one?
is that executive producer Madonna.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
completely fucking random. Again, deep state ass movie.
There's 15 credited producers on this fucking movie.
I'm real sorry about this one. Like, this is a shot in the dark. Like, I thought it would be an easy watch. I thought it would be quick because I'm doing like so many sword fights every day, and I was like, this is going to be like a nothing movie. There'll be nothing to it. It'll be easy. And instead, it was just what a fucking slog.
Instead, it was a series of like slurs and an assault against the dignity of the British people,
Which is in tatters as it is.
Oh god, we're in a rough spot right now.
really kicking us while we're down. You know.
This movie is anti-British. It's like the financial markets and like the New York Times, the failure New York Times. It just hates Britain.
Yeah. Hey, but it made a profit. It made $2 million, which is more than I've ever made in my life by a lot. So, movies. That's cinema. That's kino.
That's kino.
Well,
baby.
I shouldn't pick a bonus film for a while.
We're putting you in the box. We're not.
Yeah.
Too many times has this occurred. Although, to be fair, I have certainly brought us some fucking trash before in my time, so can't really judge.
Very, very little to rate or indeed to say about this, other than
Hey, at least we don't have to feel bad about charging this one, as it is the winter of content.
You get what you pay for, bitch. Our next mainline episode is going to be Without Remorse, I believe.
That's right.
Our next bonus episode is your pick.
It is my pick. We're going to do Saloum, which is Senegalese
Salo, the
thriller.
120 days of
From last year.
No?
No, we're not going to do Salo. You can watch Salo these days. It's nothing.
I don't I've been saying this. It's like it's remarkably. In fact, I did say this on the last episode. It's remarkably tame now because I rewatched it and no.
Just rewatch
But
Salo.
yeah,
Why did you rewatch Salo?
It's Roos.
Did this just catch your fancy to do?
No, because my boyfriend wanted to see it because he had never seen it and had like heard about how like horrific it was, and I'm like, I promise you, it isn't. It's a film that you watch because you think it's important, and it turns out to not be. Yeah. It's not even Pasolini's best work. It's
I was thinking about this recently.
Anyway.
And I ended up finding out that the Marquis de Sade is actually what sadism is named for.
Yeah.
Additionally, masochism also is named after a guy.
Yeah, Leopold von Sacher-Masoch.
Yeah.
Venus and Furs guy.
Man who is on record saying, please stop using my name to mean this. And guess what? No.
Yeah, but he was a masochist, so he probably fucking loves it, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, Saloum. It's a good movie. I like. I want you to see it. And I've even got a
Saloum.
guest lined up. So.
Ooh, nice. All right, well, we will see you for that one. In the meantime, thank you for joining us. We have a Patreon. You don't, I'm advertising this because you don't have to be on it to listen to this episode because of the winter of content that we're doing. But if you want to give us some money, if you're able to give us some money, give us some money, because it's getting more and more expensive to live in
London. And also, if you're an American, you give us like $1. That's like £2. So your donations go further.
It's like £20,000.
We have a very weak pound right now, boys. It's not going so hot over here.
Please, I need to keep the heating on in my house.
Oh my god, you've got the heating on?
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. This has been a bonus episode, but due to the winter of content, it's on the free feed. If you have any spare money whatsoever at the moment, please head on down into the description where I have several charities that we would prefer you to support than us at this time. But, of course, I do like eating. So, thank you to our patrons, and thank you especially to our £15 and above patrons. And those are Christine Fox, Amanda Comet, Fawkes Winchester, Gustavo Lira, Jack Holmes, Paint Macala, George Rohack, Thomas Oberhardt, Nick Boris, Yarek, Nate Amori, Tristram Wolf, Benno Rice, Kit Devine, Library Hitman, Beef Crime, great name, Callan Burney, Jonathan Gerda, Jack Drummond, Max Gamenhart, Kentucky Fried Commie, Hell Bloodhands, Jay Martindale, Top O, Liza Maish, maybe, Jonathan Siegel, Big Titty Goth Girl, Mothman, Ellen Perlberg, Harrison Fuller, Trip, Commissar Jen, Charlie Out of a Closet, Danny Potter, Turfs Eat Shit and Die Alone, Zoe Shepherd, Elizabeth Cox, Finn Ross, Emily thought this film was about short owls. I don't know if that's in reference to this or something else. I don't really know. Alfredo, Quinn Valeri, and friend of the show, which is my real-life mother. Thank you to my mother. Gil James 1 is, of course, Alice, Abigail, and Devon. Our producer is the wonderful Nate Bethay. Our podcast art is by Matty Lubchansky, and our website is by Tom Allen. See ya.